Brother's a friend of mine.
And just a minute, boys, I got the feed box noise. It says the great-grandfather was equipoise.
I told you, Paul Revere, now this is no bum steer. It's from a handicapper that's real sincere.
I'm picking Valentine, cause on the morning line, the guy's got...
Hello, racing fans, and welcome to a special edition of Handicappers Corner. It's our Breeders' Cup special. We're going to go through all 10 races on the Friday, November 2nd, the initial first day of a two-day Breeders' Cup events. Should be a lot of fun, Drew. Santa Anita's the course for the races, and lots of Euros coming in, and it should be obviously an exciting day.
Highlighted by the Ladies Classic, which looks like an exceptionally tough field this year, and of course a lot of local interest on the Friday card with Commander running for the Glenn Todd, Troy Taylor outfit. First time a horse from here is running a Breeders' Cup race that I can remember. I think this is the first one. He'll be going to the marathon, which runs as the 5th race. And also we have Hoist entered in the last race, which is the Twilight Derby. It's not a Breeders' Cup race, but it is a grade 2 for 3-year-olds. He looks pretty... should have a good shot in there.
Class included in the Ladies' Classic.
The ballerina winner in the Ladies' Classic. So lots of local interest today.
Mike and Amy Fearborn, of course, one that won the ballerina with Jim Penny.
That's right.
Russell Bays, they're all teamed up again. Obviously the test is very tough, but should be a great day. Lots of local flavor going on. Got horses that were broodmares that from BC that have foals running. It's exciting stuff. Let's get into the first race at Santa Anita. First half of your double. First half of many doubles.
Yeah, we're doing the whole card.
Doing the whole enchilada. First race is a non-winners of one other than mile and an eighth on the turf. I landed on the 6-horse St. Lou. This will be a European shipper. Gets Javier Castellano. He's the hottest rider in the country right now. This guy's like
especially on turf. He loves the turf. Yeah.
This guy's getting calls from everybody to ride. The horse he lost to last time, Bay Rear, well, one of a few he lost to, but Bay Rear came back to win the Secretariat at Arlington Park, just showing that he's got good company lines. He was competitive in some Group 2 and Group 3s. Overseas, and he's just in a non-winners of one here. He's been at Santa Anita for a while. He's got a long string of works. I'm going to try him. Probably won't be a big price, but still I think it'll be a pretty good mutual. So I'm going to try him to win it. I put the 4 Big Bane Theory out of the Carla Gaines barn. A nice win on the downhill turf course last time. Just a horse that I think will improve. Is gradually. I don't think we've seen obviously the best of him yet. He's going to need to be a little bit better, but I think he has some potential. And Joe Talamo re-rides, and the 11-horse Quail Hill I'm going to put in for 3rd. Has some speed, gets Ramon Dominguez. That was enough for me. But I really like the 6 St. Lou and the 4 Big Bane Theory. I really kind of didn't really. I went 6-4-4-6, but I did end up going to the 6 on top St. Lou.
I agree with you. I'm on the 6 too. The Julio, he lands in Julio Canani's barn. Castellanos, you mentioned a lot of things to like about him. Second spot, I put the 1-horse Press Baron. He just ran a mile, just ran second this same race at Santa Anita. Just got beat a length and a quarter by Huntsville. He likes the trip. It's it's another 1/8 of a mile farther, but I don't think the distance is going to bother him. And the third spot, I put Segway, horse out of the Richard Mandela barn. Impressive winner his first start on the turf, going a mile. It was off till October. He probably needed that race. Only got beat three lengths, 3 3/4. Probably needed the race, but Mandela obviously thinks he fits in here. He's a Giants Causeway, which I really like, so I have him in the 3rd spot. I have 6, 1, and 3.
So we get you started off with St. Lou in the first half of the double.
Both picking St. Lou. On to the second race, the Fillies and Mares version of allowance non-winners of one other than, and I have ended up on the 7 Big Tiz out of the Mark Latt barn. Just 2 starts back, she ran a grade 1. Only got beat 3 3/4. Came back in a optional 40, just got beat a half. Going 6 1/2. She's got a 2nd and 3rd at this distance. I really like Joe Talamo. He's having a great meet right now at Santa Anita. I've got them on top. The buyers look. She fits. She's definitely in the mix for this one. The second spot, I put the 2 River Kiss out of the Doug O'Neill barn. Kevin Krieger re-rides. Was in the Cal Cup Distaff. Those Cal bred stakes races aren't traditionally really tough. But it's definitely tougher than this race. She drops down a notch into a bit softer spot. And then the 3rd spot, I put the 9 Magical Band Beirano re-rides. This horse's form was better early on. Something must have happened last race. That was in June. She's been off since then. Not crazy about the layoff, but Beirano rides, so he obviously likes something there. I went 7, 3, and 9.
Obviously, it's a very competitive event. Nothing really stands out on paper here. I went to the 5 Warren's Amber. I see a lot of pace in here. This horse has had some success at Santa Anita in the past. If you look at his Santa Anita, or her Santa Anita form, she had 4 races. 2 of them are wins and 1/3 went on the dirt. Tried the downhill turf course last time. You can draw a line through that one. Gets back on the main track. I just see a good pace in here. Decent work since her last race, and I'm going to try Warren's Amber, maybe at a bit of a price. I put the 7. I agree with Big Tiz. Had to need the race last time. This horse had been off for quite a while, since January, I believe, prior to running about a month ago. But that was a good comeback race, second off the layoff. This horse has some nice credentials, got stakes placed in some graded events, so this filly's pretty nice as well. And I agree with the 9, Magical Ben, Bayron on Palma. Good string of workouts after a brief freshening, and this one could be live as well. But once again, lots of chances in here. There's really no standout, no real one. No, you can throw that one out for sure. Yeah. There's not many of those in this race. But I do like the 5, Warren's Amber. I went 5, 7, and 9. On to the 3rd race. Another non-winner's the one other than. This one will be 7/8 on the dirt for Colts and Geldings. I went the 7 horse, Macho Dorado, a horse I've followed before. I've seen him run quite a few times. He's got quite a bit of ability. He really got good last year at Santa Anita. He went 7 furlongs the same trip, and 121 and change was claimed that day. He's had an abbreviated campaign since. His form's really, he's been pretty spotty showing up at the races. It has big gaps in between. But last time was on the Poly, not really the best of Poly horses, I don't think, but he gets back on the Santa Anita main. Love the work tab. Mike Mitchell and Rosario do very well together. I just didn't see a ton of speed in here. I think this horse can fire off to the front. I know he didn't show speed last time, but that was obviously compromised at Del Mar. He didn't break well and had lots of troubles. He was squeezed early. I went back and watched the replays and was 6 wide turning for home, and he had some presence late. He was running on. But I'm going to try Macho Dorado. I put the 6, Northern Iowa, likely favorite, in for 2nd. Bayarano, anything this guy's on, you obviously want to pay big attention to. And I put the 1, Got Even, in for 3rd. Horse that was battling on the head end. Ended up just getting caught late by Lucky Primo, but still a horse with shortening up to 7 furlongs. Not crazy with the rail. That's the bad part. Speed and the rail going 7/8. Usually that's pretty tough at Santa Anita. Yeah. So I went 7, 6, and 1. But I do have a strong feeling about the 7, Macho Dorado.
I went with the 4, Basmati. Mario Gutierrez, first mount of the Breeders' Cup weekend.
Got a pile of them this week.
Yes, he is on quite a few. He rides 4 on Saturday, 3 on Friday on today. I went with Basmati. This is a horse. This is probably the horse that O'Neill and Redham thought was going to be their Triple Crown horse. They had high hopes from last year. They ran him at Del Mar Futurity as a maiden, and he put a big run in that day. Was near the lead. Only got beat a length and a quarter. Come back in the Norfolk. Then they dropped him in main special weight. Chipped him all the way over to Delta for the Delta jackpot. And maybe something happened at Cash Call Futurity. He got beat 15 lengths that day. We haven't seen him since. But O'Neill knows how to get one ready. He fits nicely into a first conditional allowance race. I think they have a good shot here. I got him on top. Go, Mario, go. It's open big weekend for Mario. The 2nd spot, I put Got Even. The reasons you mentioned, the Peter Miller horse down on the rail. Not crazy about the rail, but he did get a 97 Buyers last out in one of those California-bred stake races. In the 3rd spot, I put Sir Allison. Another guy I look to have a big weekend this weekend is Bob Baffert. He's got some bullets, and they look like they're ready to fire. Him and Garcia, always deadly together. This horse's Buyers are right there. Can never throw him out. I got him in the 3rd spot. I got 5, 1, and 8. On to the 4th race. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint. Here we go.
Breeders' Cup race.
Finally, we get to sink our teeth into the Breeders' Cup races. Short field of 7 juveniles going 6 furlongs on the main track. And I've gone to the 3 Merit Man. Nice horse of the Bob Hess Jr. barn, has done nothing wrong yet. Broke his maiden, come back to win the Tim Conway overnight stake by 5.5. Just crushed that day. Got a big 92 buyer for it. He knows Santa Anita well. It's his home track, home court advantage. Yep. P-Val sticks with him, a veteran, cagey rider. The 2nd spot, I put Super 99, making just his 2nd start. Another one that wouldn't surprise me, though, out of the Bob Baffert barn, Martin Garcia, guys I was just mentioning. Big run first out, 85 buyer. A horse they paid over $250,000 for at the sale. He's got a 367 Tomlinson for the distance. Nice works. All systems go for the 5, Super 99. And at 3rd spot, I put the 4 horse South Floyd. This is one of Rick Pitino's horses, the coach of the Louisville basketball team. He's got horses with Doug O'Neill now. This one ran 2nd to Merit Man. Another one broke his maiden impressively, ran 2nd to Merit Man in just his 2nd start. You know, he's going the right way for sure. I think it's a 2-horse race between the 3 and the 5 myself. I got South Floyd in for third, 3, 5, and 4 for me.
Yeah, I got the same horses pretty much. I like the 3 Merit Man. I was pretty impressed with his run. He was out three deep the whole race. He was toying with those horses, and he looks like a colt with a nice future. He does obviously go off the Lasix program, as do all the 2-year-olds.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't want to make too much of it, but still, it is the only one not going off Lasix is the 2-horse, the filly, Sealing Kitty, running against the boys.
Europe, yeah.
But he's never been on Lasix. But still, I'm just not going to put too much in it. And about the Lasix, because 6 of the 7 horses it's all an even level playing field. Yeah. So I went to the 3 Merit Man. Probably your heavy favorite. Definitely probably gonna go wire to wire. The one threat, as you mentioned, is the 5 Super 99. Got out there near the lead last time, but only because it was a maiden race. Didn't break great. Was out there just because they were maidens, and just was able to, and it was 7/8. Was able to kind of gallop up into position. Well, 6 furlongs going to shorten up, and probably some horses are going to run away from him, but it's still, I think he's got a lot of talent. I like what he saw in the stretch that day. He was toying with the field. He's another one that's going, likely to improve a lot. He'll need to improve a lot to beat the 3 Merit Man. I put the 7-horse Sweet Shirley May in for third, coming in from New York. Was compromised by a poor beginning last time. I think this horse will be a lot better with a kinder start. Joel Rosario rides, and I went 3, 5, and 7. On to the 5th race. This will be the Breeders' Cup Marathon, of course, with North American Thoroughbred Corp and Glenn Todd's Commander in the lineup, with Mario Gutierrez in the iron. It's got a full gate of 14 of them, set to go 1 mile and 3/4. They'll start at the 6 furlong start. They'll come around to the wire and then go another lap. That'll be the 1 mile and 3/4. And I'm going to go to the 1 Anti-Gun. I think this horse is getting some big class relief and running in some grade 1s going long. And just can't seem to get in the mix. I know he's just been running on late, and he's not beating a lot in those races. But still, I just like the fact that at least he's close to horses like Flat Out and Stay Thirsty. And I'm willing to follow him back at 1 mile and 3/4. They didn't obviously want to run him the Classic, and that was the other race they could have opted for. But Mike Smith re-rides. I like the works. I like a lot of things about this horse, and there should be a decent pace in here. And I put the 11 Commander in for second. Obviously, a big winning streak. This horse has never been better. He's been improved since gelding him last fall, or earlier this year, actually, back after the Santa Anita meet. This horse was gelded, and he's just been a monster since. And he's 1 mile and 3/4 shouldn't be a problem for him. It's just a matter of the pace scenario.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think the distance is going to bother him.
And the 2-horse I put in for third, Fame and Glory. Coming back in 13 days, shipping from Ascot. It's a quick turnaround for a horse coming from England, from the London area. It's coming back in 2 weeks, gets Lasix, blinkers on, a lot of changes for Fame and Glory. But the one thing this horse is a marathon specialist, and this horse has shown some good things, going 2 miles, going long distances, and it's not for every horse, this distance, and it's not always the best horses that win these races, but the ones that can run this far, and I'm going to put him in for third. But I like the 1 Anti-Gun. I went 1, 11, and 2.
I have the same horses, but being a good old...
being a local.
Being a homer, I went for Commander. I got Commander on top. Love to see him win. The local boy, Mario, Troy, Glenn, they've been great for racing around these parts. Our top trio here the last few years. So I put Commander on top.
Yep.
As you mentioned, he's done a little wrong since being gelded, so I just hope that can carry. He's got enough confidence. He'll get the distance. I just hope he's good enough. The second spot, I put Fame and Glory, the horse you just mentioned. He is coming back quick. Aidan O'Brien might be the best conditioner in the world. He knows what he's doing. You can't see it on this form, but this horse won the Irish Derby when he was 3. Was one of the top horses in Europe as a 3-year-old. A lot of back class there. Was a really nice horse. Maybe tailed off a little bit, but as Mike mentioned, he will get the distance. He's a real specialist at this kind of race. And the third spot I put Adigan, as you mentioned, Ken McPeak's horse. Oh, you know, he's really tough. We run against Flat Out, Stay Thirsty, Fort Larned, those horses that are showing up in the Classic. He's going to be a handful in here. I got 11, 2, and 1. On to the 6th, the 2-year-old fillies, the juvenile turf for fillies. And I've gone to the 3 Sky Lantern. A common theme for me this weekend is Euros. I always go with the Euros in these races, especially these young horses. When you look, last time she ran against 13 horses. That doesn't happen a whole lot with the horses on this side of the pond.
Especially in California.
Especially in California.
It's 4 others.
This is a 14-horse field. She's not going to be bothered by being in a big field. And she's done little wrong in her short career. 5 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds. just coming off a Grade 1 win in Ireland at the Curragh. All systems go for Skylander, and I got her on top. The second spot, I got Waterway Run, another Euro, another horse, 4 starts, 3 wins. Frankie Dettori, a legend in Breeders' Cup. I don't know how many he's won, but it's a lot. He seems to win 1 or 2 every year. Coming off a nice Grade 3 win in Great Britain. Spy Arch gets a 380 Tomlinson number for the distance on the turf. I like the 10 Waterway Run in second. And in the third spot, I put What's the Chances, the 6 horse, an Irish bred. Another Euro, but this horse has been stateside for his last 2 races. Ran in New York, little overnight stake at Belmont, going a mile 16th, won that. Come back in a Grade 3 at Belmont, won that. So another horse, 4 starts, 3 wins and a third, and has proven it on this side of the pond. Been here for a while, been here since middle of August. So Javier Castellano, lots of things to like about that one too. I got 3, 10, and 6.
Yeah, I go with the 3-horse Sky Lantern. This is the best horse likely in the race. He's one of the best in Europe for 2-year-olds. Once again, no Lasix for any of the U.S. runners. I mean, these horses are used to running without Lasix, the European shippers. And this is probably the weakest event for the U.S. and Canada. Like, these are basically horses that just broke their maidens or just won non-winners of ones. These European horses coming in they've been running in Group 1, Group 2 races, and they're very, very genuine.
They have the edge.
So I'm going to the Euros. I went to the 3 Sky Lantern to win with Richard Hughes up. The 4-horse Flotilla apparently had a lot of trouble in that last run at Longchamp. Christophe Lemaire will ride for the first time. He's a top class rider. He always shows up at the Melian at Arlington. A lot of big days, Christophe Lemaire shows up, and this horse obviously has good connections, but Flotilla might be a price play, just because this horse did encounter some trouble. And I did put a local or Canadian horse in the 5, Spring Venture, in for third. Perfect 3 for 3. Liked what I saw. This horse had a lot of energy when she won on the turf, and came back to win on the poly, but I think she'll, the firm ground will definitely maybe hurt some of the Europeans, but might help a Canadian like Spring Venture. So I went 3, 4, 5. I agree. Sky Lantern probably. Unless this horse looks really washed out in the paddock or something, then this looks like a solid single. On to the 7th race, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Going a mile and a 16th on the main course. I'm going to go to the 3, Spring in the Air. I see a pile of speed in here. I see Beholder going down the inside. Executive Privilege will not be too far away. You got the 4-horse Renee's Queen, the 5 Dreaming of Julia. The outside horse is very quick. Kauai Katie. There's just going to. I just see a very lively pace in here, and I'm going to try the 3-horse Spring in the Air, who's proven from off the pace. Not proven on dirt. I know. I'm going with the Canucks. But good Canadian kid.
Yeah, that's right. Good Canadian kid. Yeah, coming off a Grade 1 win at Keeneland.
It was on poly, but it's still
Keeneland.
It's still a Grade 1 race. I just like the way the race is going to set up. I think these horses are going to suck back and be last early. I think the pace will be solid. The track's been considerably deeper at Santa Anita. If anyone's been watching the last 3 or 4 weeks at Santa Anita, the times are unusually slow. And this will play out nicely maybe for a 1-run closer. And this horse has a great move. So I'm going to try this horse. I just see the favorites getting really interested in each other and perhaps not wanting to let either one get away. And the interior fractions could be quite quick. And they may be vulnerable in the stretch, and it might help out a horse like Spring in the Air. So I'm going to try Spring in the Air to beat the 1 Beholder, who's a rapidly improving filly by Henny Hughes. Has distance limitations, being by Henny Hughes. And I put the 2 Executive Privilege, the logical favorite that, maybe just you have another good run in her. She's had a lot of races and a lot of top efforts. And I know she won easy last time, but still there wasn't a whole lot in that field. She's getting a lot tougher test. I went 3, 1, and 2. I think the value's with the 3.
I went with the 2. I mentioned earlier, I think Bafford's up for a big weekend. This will be one of his big shots. She's on her home court. She's done little wrong, done nothing wrong. As you mentioned, that last in the Chandler, big run, won by 6. I got to go with her. I got her on top. The second spot, I put Dreaming of Julia, the Todd Pletcher barn. One of the things I like about Executive Privilege and Dreaming of Julia is they've run over a mile. They run a mile or over. That's what worries me about like Cow Katie and Beholders. They haven't run long yet, so it's a bit of a question mark.
Both have limitations, maybe.
Exactly.
Because the connections of Kauai Katie were very unsure which race they were going to enter in.
Yeah.
And at the last minute, they went in the mile 16th.
Ended up going in the long one. So I left her off. I went with executive privilege on top. Dreaming of Julia, Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez. She's an AP Indy. She, you know, mile 16th isn't going to bother her. Gets a 382 number for the distance. Another one that hasn't done anything wrong yet. She's unbeaten. And in the third spot, I put Beholder. As you mentioned, a filly that's rapidly improving. What worries, you know, the 108 buyer makes your eyes bulge when you see that. You know, that stands out. But the distance is definitely what worries me. But I got 2, 5, and 1 in the juvenile fillies. On to the 8th, the fillies and mares turf race, going 1.25 miles on the lawn. And I went to the 4, the Fugi. Am I pronouncing that right?
I don't know.
The Fugi?
We'll find out on Friday.
We'll find out on Friday.
Never seen him run.
Another Euro. I'm going with another Euro.
Run. Yeah.
3-year-old filly run against the older mares, but 7 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Never off the board. Everybody that's watched this horse run in Europe says that she is a monster. I'll believe him. I got her on the top spot. In the second spot, I put Narain, another one that looked very good in Europe. She's a 4-year-old. She could come over here, run once at Belmont, and won. You know, posted 100 buyer that day. I really like the fact, you know, she's run once on stateside. Now she goes for her second start.
Changes blinkers. Goes blinkers on.
It's a little strange off a win, yeah. But you know, I guess I didn't like the way she was running that day. Maybe
there's a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe there's more in the tank. So gets the, as I mentioned before, the legendary Frankie Dettori in the irons. Nothing wrong with him. He's a guy to always keep your eye on Breeders' Cup weekend. In the third spot, I put Up, out of the Aidan O'Brien stables. We talked briefly about Aidan O'Brien before. I love this guy. As I mentioned, might be the top conditioner in the world. Gets Ryan Moore, one of his top riders, a guy that has come over and rode these big races for him before. This is a horse that just, in September, won going 1.25 miles on the turf in the Curragh. All systems go for Up. Probably going to get a bit of a price on her, too. She's another 3-year-old tackling the older mares, but she's well seasoned, run 13 times, so 4, 8, and 7 for me.
I'm going to go to the 9 marketing mix. Definitely the only, you know, local or U.S. chance in this race, I think, because the Euros will likely dominate. But marketing mix, she continues to run big race after big race. And the thing I like, she had a 1.25 mile race over the Santa Anita course, and it's tricky because I mean you do go over the dirt course once because you do start in the chute, like on the 6.5 furlong final turn, because there are 2 kind of final turns if you've ever seen the configuration of Santa Anita. But the marketing mix won with authority. I know she got set up pretty good, but she was dominating, and I like Garrett Gomez on her again. He's a very good turf rider, very patient. Horses tend to explode for him and produce great runs when needed. So I'm going to try marketing mix to win it. I agree with your 7-horse Up. This horse, not surprising that O'Donoghue's not on the horse because he was aboard on Million Day when she was chasing a ridiculous pace. Ended up getting tired late. Just to give you some idea, Little Mike won the Arlington Million. The fractions were 50 and 115 for the 6 furlongs. They were going 48 and 2, 112 and 2 in the Beverly D. And this horse was fighting all the way. Only gonna be 3 lengths and just was misused early in the race. Went back 2 weeks later, or actually 8 days later, and galloped at the Curragh. It's just obviously you have some substance here. She's a nice filly. And Ryan Moore, as you mentioned, will ride. I just think, you know, if she hasn't been over-raced in the past, which she's been, you know, the Euros tend to be able to stand up to more racing than our U.S. or Canadian type horses. But if she hasn't been overused in the past 2 months, then I think she'll run a big race. The gas tank is non-E. And I put the 4-horse, the Foog, or the Fugi, or the Foogie. We won't get into how to pronounce that. But
number 4.
Number 4 with William Buick aboard. Definitely some Ghost Lasix top, you know, Group 2, Group 1s. This horse is a very genuine filly as well. But I went 9, 7, and 4. I'm going to go for one of the local horses marketing mix to win it. On to the 9th race, the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic. Good group. Got 2 undefeated fillies in here, an Awesome Feather and My Miss Aurelia. You got Class Included coming up from Hastings, going down from Hastings in Seattle after winning the Ballerina. Royal Delta, who won the Ladies Classic last year. Some very, very good horses. Tough race. I went to the 5 Awesome Feather. I was really impressed with the win in the Nasty Storm. It was just a minor stake, but what she did was very impressive. She has speed. She can get herself in position, and that may be the key in this race because there could be some jockeying around, and whoever gets position in this race may win it. It's 1 1/8 miles, not 1 1/4 miles, which is probably better for Awesome Feather. and I don't know. I'm going to go to her. I put Royal Delta in for second. I mean, she's a logical horse to take and to like. Yeah. But,
especially off that last race.
Yeah, that was powerful performance at Belmont. Impressive. She did lose to Love and Pride at Saratoga, but was coming again. Kind of had an odd trip. Not too sure about that. Might not have cared for the footing, but she kind of lost ground for a while, then was coming on again. She's running in spurts. But still a very, very good filly. And I put the 3-horse class included. I'm going to get her on the board.
All right.
I think there's going to be some speed. I think My Miss Aurelia, questing. There's going to be some Love and Pride. There's going to be some battling for the lead. And maybe class included can just mind her own business. Back of the pack. Russell just kind of sit back, and he can pick off 3 or 4 of these that are maybe trying to win the race, and it may cost them in the last 1/8 of a mile. Maybe she can get up for
She's never been worse than second.
No.
She hasn't run against these type horses,
no,
but she's still never been worse than second. Yeah, she hasn't done anything wrong.
A third here would count as a second to me.
I would say so, yes.
But I went 5, 6, 3.
I got same horses, Awesome Feathers, you mentioned. Awesome is the word. She is 10 for 10.
Obviously physical problems, but I mean, she's once they get her over to the races, put her in that starting gate, she knows what to do.
Yeah, like you can make arguments against the Sunshine Millions distaff, restricted stake, the Nasty Storm, but she runs in the Gazelle, Grade 1 at Aqueduct, and she wins by 5, right? So she's for real. Royal Delta, as you mentioned, I got the same top 2. Awesome Feather, Royal Delta in the 2nd spot. She's going to be a handful. She's coming in this race off a nice win at Belmont. In the 3rd spot, I went to the 3-year-old filly, My Miss Aurelia. Another one undefeated, right? 6 for 6, 3 Grade 1s and a Grade 2. Steve Asmussen, great connections. I like My Miss Aurelia in the 3rd spot. I got 5, 6, and 2 in the Ladies Classic. And on to the 10th, the Twilight Derby here at Santa Anita for 3-year-olds, obviously. And this is another one with a local connection. We have Hoist. This is a horse that Glenn Todd bought for the Derby here at Hastings. He ran a huge race at the Derby here. Ended up, was on the lead of a quick pace, a crowded quick pace, and just got a little tired late. Got passed by Second City and Devil in Disguise. I ended up in this race though. I went to the 2-horse. Speaking of which, another Euro. I'm all over the Euros. Horse won a Grade 3 at the Curragh, going 1.25 miles by 9 on the turf. This one's a little bit short, 1 1/8, but obviously an impressive race back in May. He's lightly raced, only run 4 times in his life. Taking their time with him, but I think he's going to be a handful in here. He'll love the turf, he'll love the distance. I got the 2. I put Hoist in 2nd. He'll probably be part of the pace scenario. If it's nice and slow, he should have a little left in the tank to give Mario a good kick at the end. And in the 3rd spot, I put the 8-horse, My Best Brother. He's on his home court, running 2 Grade 2s the last 2 times, 1/16, 1/8 on the turf. Just got beat a nose 2 times ago by Old Time Hockey, who's also in this race. And the last one, he win the race by
what is hockey?
1.25 miles. Hockey?
Hockey. What is that?
Yeah, what's that?
What is that?
Old Time Hockey. It's a long time ago they played hockey.
They used to play hockey.
They used to play hockey. Here. So I got 2, 10, go Hoist. I'd like to pick Hoist. I pick Commander. I don't want to be. I got Merrill win another one. I don't want to be an absolute curse. Homer. So I'll put him in the 2nd spot. And the 3rd spot, I put the 8, My Best Brother.
I'm going to go to the 4-horse in here, Smart Ellis. Horse that encountered a ton of trouble in the Del Mar Derby. This horse was running he just kept getting shuffled back, then was trying to put in a run, got shut off by a tiring horse, ended up running on late, ended up 8th, but beat 2 3/4 lengths. There was this horse could have won the race, believe me, last time with a good trip. Been working well at Santa Anita. I think there could be a lively enough pace for Smart Ellis, and obviously the price will be quite enticing. So let's try the 4, Smart Ellis. I put the 1, Regulus. This will be another big-priced horse. I've kind of followed this horse. I kind of liked him 2 starts back when he broke his maiden when the blinkers were removed. He fought off another horse at the wire, and he kind of was passed by a neck and then came back on. And I like that with horses that will show that kind of intestinal fortitude and wants to beat the horse beside him. And then he did it again in a non-winners of 1. He was almost going to get passed by a 4-year-old Planet Sunshine, and this horse re-rallied and just drew away again. I know that he had a good trip and everything, but he's well bred by Distorted Human out of Stellar Jane. Like excellent pedigree here, but he is obviously he's been a slow learner, but he's learned that he needs to beat the horse right beside him, and I like that. And I think he could sit close to the pace. He's a fighter, a proven fighter. He may forget to stop, and he may outgame everyone out on the head end. He will be 20 to 1. So I put him in the mix, and I put Hoist in. They've been trying to get him on the turf. Prior connections were trying to get him on the turf.
Kept coming off the turf back in New York.
Kept hitting rain in New York, and not as bad as this week, but Hurricane Sandy hit. But they got some bad rains throughout the summer there, and Hoist couldn't get on the couldn't get on the turf at all. And but perhaps a horse that may just relish. He might even be better than he is on dirt. If he's better than he is on dirt, then
he's going to be a handful.
He's a nice horse, and he should get a good trip sitting off of the 8. My Best Brother, who looks like the speed. So Mario should be able to sit in the 2 path, just kind of follow him down to the inside and get a good trip.
That's right. I like the post too.
Yeah, the post is perfect. Gives him some options.
Gets him on the outside, exactly. He's going to be able to put him where he wants him.
So I went 4, 1, and 10 in a race that it's got a lot of. I would definitely play a few horses in your pick 4s, pick 3s, whatever wagers you like. Well, that'll do it for the Friday, November 2nd edition of Breeders' Cup, the special Breeders' Cup edition.
That's right. We got our picks coming up on the board.
We will take a quick recap of it. That's our analysis, but there we go up on screen. A quick recap. Back in race number 1, I went to the 6, St. Lou. I went 6, 4, 11. In race number 2, I went to the 5, Warren's Amber, 5, 7, and 9. The 3rd race, I went to the 7, Macho Dorado, 7, 6, and 1 for me. In the 4th race, I went to the 3, Merit Man. I went 3, 5, and 7. Back in race number 5, I went to the 1, Anti-Gun, 1, 11, and 2. 6th race, number 3, Sky Lantern, might be the best bet of the day, 3, 4, and 5. In the 7th race, Long Shot Canadian Hopeful, Spring in the Air, the 3. I went 3, 1, and 2. In the 8th race, I went to the 9, Marketing Mix, 9, 7, and 4. In the 9th race, I went to the 5, Awesome Feather, hoping she remains undefeated, 5, 6, and 3. And in the 10th and final, I went to the 4 horse, Smart Ellis, 4, 1, and 10.
And on to my picks. In the first, I agree, I went with the 6, St. Luke, over the 1 and the 3. In the second race, I went to the 7, Big Tiz, over the 3 and 9. In the 3rd race, I started Mario off to a big weekend here. I went to the 5, Basmati, over the 1 and the 8. In the 4th race, I agree with Mike on number 3, Merit Man. In the 5th, I went to the 11, the hometown hero, Commander, over the 2 and the 1. In the 6th race, again, I agree with Mike, Sky Lantern. Maybe my best bet of the day here, Sky Lantern, the 3 in the 6th race, over the 10 and the 6. In the 7th race, I went to Bob Baffert's Executive Privilege, the 2 horse, over the 5 and the 1. In the 8th race, I went to the Euro, the Fugi, number 4, over the 8 and the 7. In the 9th, again, I'm with Mike, the undefeated number 5, Awesome Feather, over the 6 and the 2. And in the last, the nightcap, the 10th, I went to the 2, speaking of which, over the 10, Hoist, and the 8, My Best Brother.
All right, there you have it. There's our insight for the Friday, November 2nd edition of the Breeders' Cup. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Don't forget, we'll be previewing the give an analysis for the Saturday, November 3rd. 12 races on tap for the Saturday card. Should be a lot of fun. Once again, thanks for tuning in for the Friday edition. On behalf of Drew, I've been Mike. We'll look forward to seeing you again. Good luck and good racing in Breeders' Cup.
The feedbox noise, it says the great-grandfather was equipoised.
I told you Paul Revere, now this is no bum steer. It's from a handicapper that's real sincere.
I'm picking Valentine, 'cause on the morning line, the guy's got...